I want to start this off by saying that there will be no spoilers whatsoever until later on in the video. I will announce when the spoilers will start. So if you haven't seen the movie and you're worried about spoilers, don't worry. I'm going to give a very, very general overview of it and how I liked it before I get to any of the spoiler stuff. I will warn you well in advance when the spoilers are coming. Solo, the movie that set the bar for Star Wars movies so low. I'm just kidding. I actually really enjoyed it. Is it worth a watch though? Yeah, I think it is. It was pretty good. Was it amazing? No. Was it great? No. Was it good? Yeah. It was definitely a pretty alright film. If you're a Star Wars fan, I think it's definitely worth a watch in theaters. If you're just kind of a casual fan, like you've seen a couple of the movies or you don't care that much about it, I think it's still a fun movie to go see. Like, I don't think you'll hate it. I think there's a lot to be enjoyed of it, but I guess if you're not super into Star Wars, you can definitely wait. You can definitely wait on this one. And if you're one of those people that only likes the original trilogy and hates every other Star Wars movie and will continue to hate every other Star Wars movie, then you'll probably hate this Star Wars movie. And you're also the worst. Solo, it was very lighthearted. It was probably the most comedic Star Wars film, I'd say. It didn't take itself too seriously, which I thought was alright a lot of the time. I think it got a bit too comedic. I really wish it would have been more serious at times, but it definitely had some really funny moments, and I think it's definitely one that is more appropriate for kids and stuff. If you have young kids, I don't see it being a bad one to take them to. Actually, apparently it is rated PG-13. I would not have expected that, for sequences of sci-fi action and violence. So honestly, I think it's appropriate for kids. I saw Phantom Menace when I was 5, and I saw the original trilogy multiple times before that. So I honestly don't think there's that really anything bad for kids in this movie. Like, yeah, it's a bit violent at times. There really isn't any gore or anything. There's no language that I can think of. There's maybe a couple innuendos and stuff, but I think for the most part it's pretty family friendly. It's definitely not anywhere near as dark as Rogue One or The Last Jedi. Rogue One especially, I think, was a really dark movie, and I loved Rogue One. Rogue One, I think, did a really, really great job. I think it set the bar pretty high for these Star Wars stories. I definitely enjoyed Rogue One more than Solo personally, but I still think Solo did a pretty good job at what it was aiming for. I think Rogue One fit a lot better into the canon because it kind of explained a lot of stuff in between episode 3 and 4 and really flowed right into episode 4. Solo really doesn't do that. It's just kind of exactly what it says. It's a Star Wars story. It's just kind of a one-off thing, explain some backstory about Han, but it's really not necessary in any way in the Star Wars canon. And honestly, after watching it, you don't really learn that much. It really doesn't change your opinion on stuff that much, which I thought Rogue One and movies like The Last Jedi and stuff, it did that a lot. It changed so much. They took a lot of really interesting risks and stuff. This movie, it really doesn't. It's just kind of a lighthearted, upbeat adventure with Han and some other characters that you'll recognize. So in my personal Star Wars rankings, and this is when things get a bit dicey, I'd rank it second last out of all the movies, but I will say I enjoy every Star Wars movie. Like, my least favorite is The Phantom Menace, but I still really enjoyed The Phantom Menace. I think there's a lot of kind of crappy things about it, but all in all, I enjoyed it. I watched it when I was 5, and I have loved it ever since. I think there's a lot of fun stuff. And like Solo, I think it and Solo are kind of similar in that way. There's a lot of really cool aspects, but all in all, they're just kind of like fun. Like, the things that I like about them is they're just kind of fun, upbeat. They've got some cool moments, and I think they both go a little too far on some of the comedic things. So I guess now I should actually say my ranking so you can judge whether I'm a good judge of Star Wars character in your books. And I'll say, before I say my ranking, I will say I really enjoy the prequel trilogy. I know a lot of people really want to hate on it. I don't like it. I don't like a lot of the movies as much as some of the others, but I think they're still enjoyable movies. I watched them when I was a really little kid. They came out when I was really little. So for me, they've kind of always been a part of Star Wars. The 6 movies, that was the core Star Wars for me. But here's my ranking in order and with absolutely no explanation for why. It is 6, 3, 5, 4, Rogue One, 7, 2, 8, Solo, 1. So if you think I'm just completely off with that ranking, then maybe you shouldn't listen to my review of Solo. So yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, I think it's definitely worth a watch. It's pretty interesting. It's going to be sparking up a lot of conversation, that's for sure. And it's really hard to say anything else without dropping any sort of spoilers. So with that being said, we're going to get to the spoiler part of it now. So if you're exiting the video at this point, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. But yeah, I'll see you later because we're going to get into some spoilers now, okay? There's going to be spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, click off the video. Whoa, what's happening now? Spoilers. I'm going to spoil the movie. So if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch. So let's get into it. First off, Alden Ehrenreich. Alden Ehrenreich, the actor of Han. I thought he was mediocre. I wasn't crazy about him, I'm gonna be honest. I know there was so much flack surrounding him going into the movie, and I was all about him. I've watched interviews with him and stuff. I think he seems like a great dude. I really want to like him. I definitely didn't appreciate that he was getting so much flack before people really saw him. But now, after the movie, I honestly, I didn't think he was that great. I thought he did a good job. He kind of created his own version of Han, which I really appreciated, that he just didn't try and completely copy Harrison Ford. But I didn't think it was great. And right after I came home, I hopped on Twitter because I was like, I wonder what other people think about him. I wonder if they agree with me. And no one does that I could find. Like, everyone's loving him. Everyone's saying he did an amazing job and stuff. And like, I think he did an all right job, but I definitely don't think it was amazing. Everyone else, though, loved it. I can't think of another actor that I didn't think did an amazing job. Donald Glover, everyone's talking about him, and rightfully so. He did such a freaking good job. Like, the first scene of him as Lando on screen, I just thought he captured the character so well. I was so impressed with him. Definitely an amazing casting choice on that part. But while I loved the acting, there was one character that I didn't really like, and that's the droid L3. And I can just see it. I think the internet is going to generally hate her. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I think they were trying really hard to recreate kind of the droid from Rogue One. Everyone loved the droid from Rogue One. Like, everyone thought that droid was really funny, had all these funny moments. They're trying to make the droids more and more human, which is all right, I think. But I think they just went way too far. She's just... And I think the worst thing was her death scene. Not because of how she died or anything, but because of what Lando did. Like, and now people are actually thinking that, like, Lando's in love with the droid and stuff, which might be the case. If that's true, I think that's really dumb. But yeah, when Lando, like, ran out after risked his own life, ran out into fire to try and save her and stuff, and there's all this emotion. I think they were trying to make it really emotional. I felt absolutely nothing. I was like, what the heck are you doing, Lando? I just didn't think it was really in his character at all. And that kind of leads into my next point. One thing that I didn't really like about the movie is that Lando and Han, they just seem so soft in the movie. Like, they're supposed to be smugglers, and I get it. This is kind of a backstory, so maybe over time Han hardens a lot more. But man, he seemed, for like growing up on the streets and doing all this stuff to get where he is, he just seems so soft. I really wanted a type thing like the Cassian guy from Rogue One. I'll play a little clip of what I wanted out of Lando and Han. I wanted this kind of mentality.
We'll be all right.
Like, that's dope. I think that's so cool. Having the good guy do something that seems kind of heartless, like he killed that guy, but it's because that guy would have given information to the Empire and would have kind of spoiled the whole thing that the rebels were doing. And that's kind of what I wanted from Han and Lando. I wanted a really selfish, badass like smuggler vibe, but they just cared about other people too much, I think, which, good on them, but I wish they were more kind of selfish and scummy in a way, because I think that's kind of how you have to be to survive or be like a very successful smuggler like they were in the kind of environments that they're in. And I think maybe it was kind of trying to set upon like how he becomes in the original trilogy, where he ends up like choosing the right thing. He ends up being way more selfless and stuff. But I mean, that's years down the road. This is supposed to be, I was really hoping this is the time where he's like cold-hearted and all this stuff. And then you see in the original trilogy kind of how he makes that transformation. We don't need to see parts of that transformation happening here, I don't think. I just wish, they were more cold-hearted, more selfish, more smuggler-like. I think that would have been way better. And now time for the big spoiler, the elephant in the room. Darth Maul, what the heck? Wait, what was that all about? I understand that he's in the Clone Wars and he's in the Rebel series. I haven't seen far enough into the Clone Wars to see that. I think I've only seen the first season or two, and I haven't really watched Rebels. I have heard he's really cool in those, and I respect that. I'm down with him not dying in the Phantom Menace. I'm down with him coming back. But it just felt so out of place and so weird, and it felt like it was just thrown in there to be that spoiler moment, that big moment that everyone's going to be talking about on social media and stuff. And the other thing is, like, Solo, it's supposed to be a one-off movie. It's just a random Star Wars story, but they've clearly set it up to have a sequel or have something continue off of those characters, which I wasn't crazy about. I really liked Rogue One, how it was just so final and stuff. Like, it introduced all these characters and you're like, what the heck, these characters aren't in A New Hope. What's going to happen with them? And then they all die, and I thought that was sick. I thought they closed everything off super well. With Solo, I don't think they did that. They left so many things open, so obviously they're going to be setting it up for more movies and stuff. I don't know. And I thought it was so corny that Darth Maul pulled out his lightsaber in the hologram, which maybe they did it just to ensure, like, yes, this is Darth Maul. Or I guess Maul, he's being called now. He's not Darth anymore. He's just Maul. And I guess, like, there was a moment when I first saw him, I was like, oh, frick, that's Darth Maul. And then when I was watching it a bit more, I was like, is that really Darth Maul? And then he pulled out his lightsaber, and I'm like, yeah, that's Darth Maul, 100%. So maybe they did that on purpose because they were afraid that people wouldn't think it was Maul. But all in all, I don't know. I don't like him being there. I think it's just so random. I thought it was going to be like the Emperor on the other side of that, and maybe that's what they're setting you up to think that it was. Because they talked about someone bigger than just that gangster. There's someone even above the Crimson Gang, or wherever it was called. But Darth Maul, what a twist. But yeah, that's it. That's all I gotta say. Solo, I brought up a lot of negative things there at the end, but honestly, I really enjoyed it. I'll probably see it again at least one more time in theaters. It was just a really fun, enjoyable movie. It was funny. It had some great moments. Alden, even though I was chirping him a lot, he did a decent job. And I really liked a lot of the characters and stuff that it introduced. So all in all, I thought it was pretty good. Second worst favorite Star Wars movie, but I love all the Star Wars movies. I always enjoy them. So I don't think that's really saying too much. But yeah, thanks for watching.